Hello, fine people. This is Erin, and welcome back to Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching. This is me, Erin. I think I said my name already. I'm continuing my series on the somatic therapies because I am graduating from a course and I wanted to incorporate it in for you guys so you get to learn. It's not so different from some of the things that I already teach, but there might be some different vocabulary, different jargon that I would share with you, and I will promise to decipher it as much as I can. So, today I want to talk about the nervous system because the nervous system has a lot to do with processing trauma and emotions. The nervous system is the interconnector between the emotional body and the physical body. So, if the nervous system is frazzled, then it's going to kind of distort the connection that we have between the emotional body and the physical body. It's like they can't connect with each other, they can't communicate. And so, if you, for example, use your breath to regulate your nervous system, what happens is that you can be in touch with your emotional body as well as your physical body, and you're able to kind of like journey back and forth between the two, and maybe even in some way be able to be connected to both at the same time. So you can be present in your body and still know how you're feeling in any given moment and have some space around it to where you don't reflexively act, which is what you would do when you're in your primal state. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So with the nervous system, I want to talk just a little bit about the polyvagal theory, which has a suggestion that the brain will reflexively kind of scan and pick up on anything that might be threatening. And what happens is it automatically shifts into an autonomic state unconsciously. So, for example, if you see someone in a crowd that reminds you of maybe like someone that hurt you or abused you, what you can happen is like all of a sudden your heart starts racing and you start sweating, and all of a sudden you get like this urge to flee or to fight. And so that is part of the polyvagal theory. So it's important to know this because one, it allows us to have compassion because the world has triggers. And if you're triggered, I'm a coach, I do lots of mind, body, spirit work, and sometimes I still get triggered. It's a lot less since I've been doing this deep inner work. But yeah, of course, like I'm human. I have a nervous system and, a skeleton, and I call it my bacon suit on. And so I have these, synapses, and I have, memories that are stashed inside of my tissues. And so, for example, if I hear a boom, just like anyone else, like a big thunder crack, I just jump, right? So that's part of what's going on there is you don't even think about it, and all of a sudden you're in a fight or flight state. So recognizing the nervous system as far as that connector between the emotional body and the physical body is really important in somatic therapies because essentially what we're doing is helping people to regulate their nervous system. Now, certainly in yoga, we're doing that too. And yoga goes into, maybe a little bit more also of the physical component where we're trying to help people with their aches and pains and things like that. Though some people might say the physical and the emotional are very, very, very interconnected. Though I can tell you that at any given time, and I know a lot of different modalities, I was a body worker for 15 years. I went to massage therapy school, been a yoga therapist for just about as long. I've done martial arts, movement arts, so on and so forth. I've worked with people in different capacities. I'm also a certified life coach. And so sometimes I can tell you that people have an issue, and what would work better is, me digging my elbow into their hip. Sometimes if they have, they're grieving, then maybe actually talking something out or maybe some somatic therapies would work better for them, right? So I agree that it's all connected, but sometimes there's a better tool for the job. So the nervous system is important to be able to regulate, again, because it bridges the gap that happens between the emotional body and the physical body. Sometimes, oftentimes, we have limiting beliefs that are blocking us from being able to access our emotions. And so that's why nervous system regulation is important too, because if we have blocks in the in the mind, if we have blocks in the mind, it is going to prevent us from being able to access what we need to drop into a heart-centered space. And so if we do regulate the nervous system, then we can find these limiting beliefs. If we find these limiting beliefs, then we can bring them into the forefront of our consciousness and do things like the clear formula. Or if we still have some dysregulation of the nervous system and we don't quite feel like dropped in enough to be able to do that mental work, then doing some things like I'm going to show you in a moment can be really important. So there are techniques that we can do using the breath to be able to regulate the nervous system. So then when we have the nervous system regulated, we can access these beliefs. When we access the beliefs, then we can then bring them into the forefront of the consciousness and be able to sort of like pick things apart and question beliefs and prove them wrong and other such things. So there are these different holds that we can do, like this, and like this, that are called neurovascular holds. When we use those, we can sort of bypass the brain, breathe, and what we can do is get more blood flow and regulate the amygdala, which is our fear center. There's also something that happens when you're holding and cradling the head, and there's one down below the base of the skull. That is if you're feeling terror. There's one at the back of the head if you're feeling anxiety. There's one on top of the head that when you're feeling grief. And then there's ones on either side of the temple if you're feeling anger or rage. This allows this pressure and the feeling of hands on your head allows you to bring blood flow to your amygdala, which is your fear center, and helps you with some deep breaths and with some awareness, creating acceptance, and then also creating a sense of safety, you to be able to regulate yourself. And so this is another somatic technique. This is not something that I learned in my recent course. This is something that I already knew, but I'm incorporating in because that's what I do. I like to mix things up. Nice little cocktail for you. But essentially, all of these tools are helping to regulate the nervous system. You notice that it's a combination of touch, awareness, breath, and compassion. So that's going to be the topic of my next video, is the importance of compassion in all of these therapies. Because without that, then we can't create safety. And without safety, we can't accept what is. And if we can't accept what is, then we can't heal. So thanks for tuning in to this episode, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.
Thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the podcast and if it's helping you, please consider writing a review. You can go to iTunes or Google Play, go into the search bar and type in Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching, scroll down, and you can leave a review. This helps other people to find me as well as bumps us up in the search ratings. Also, this podcast is sponsor-free, so that means we don't receive anything for doing it. If you feel so inclined and this podcast is helping to support you and you want to return the favor and help to support any production costs of the podcast, feel free to give a donation to a Venmo link, Thrive Yoga Fit, or PayPal, Erin@erincoach.com. If you don't have the means, don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. You're all good. But if you would like to give back, you can give back in those ways. Thank you so much. Namaste.